Did you hear what I was playing, Lane?
I didn't think it polite to listen, sir.
I'm sorry for that. For your sake, I don't play accurately. Anyone can play accurately, but I play with wonderful expression. As far as the piano is concerned, sentiment is my forte. I keep science for life.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of science for life, have you had those cucumber sandwiches cut for Lady Bracknell?
Yes, sir.
By the way, Lane, I see from your book that on Thursday night, when Lord Shoreman and Mr. Worthing were dining with me, 8 bottles of champagne were entered as having been consumed.
Yes, sir. 8 bottles and a pint.
Why is it that at a bachelor's establishment, the servants invariably drink the champagne? I ask merely for information.
I attribute it to the superior quality of the wine, sir. I have often observed that in married households, the champagne is rarely of a first-rate brand.
Good heavens. Is marriage really as demoralizing as that?
I believe it is a very pleasant state, sir. I have had very little experience of it myself up to the present. I have only been married once. That was in consequence of a misunderstanding between myself and a young person.
I don't know if I'm much interested in your family life, Landry.
No, sir. It isn't a very interesting subject. I never think of it myself.
Fair enough. I'm sure. That will do, Lane. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lane's views of marriage seem somewhat lax. Really? If the lower orders don't set us a good example, what on earth is the use of them? They seem as a class have absolutely no sense of their moral responsibilities.
Mr. Ernest Worthing.
How are you, my dear Ernest? What brings you to town?
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere? Eating as usual, I see, Algie.
I believe it customary in good society to take some slight refreshments at 5 o'clock. Where have you been since last Thursday?
In the country.
What on earth do you do there?
When one is in town, one amuses oneself. When one is in the country, one amuses other people. It is excessively boring.
And who are the people you amuse?
Oh, neighbors, neighbors.
You got nice neighbors in your part of Shropshire?
Perfectly horrid. I never speak to one of them.
How immensely you must amuse them. By the way, Shropshire is your county, is it not?
And Shropshire? Why, yes, of course. Hello, why all these cups? Why cucumber sandwiches? Who is coming over?
Merely Aunt Augusta and Gwendolyn.
How perfectly delightful.
Yes, it is all very well, but I'm afraid Aunt Augusta won't quite approve of your being here.
May I ask why?
My dear fellow, the way you flirt with Gwendolyn is perfectly disgraceful. It is almost as bad as the way Gwendolyn flirts with you.
My dear fellow, I'm in love with Gwendolyn. I've come up to town expressly to propose to her.
You said you came up for pleasure. I call that business. No, please, do not touch my sandwiches. These are ordered specially for Aunt Augusta.
Well, you have been eating them all the
I
time.
know.
That is quite a different matter. She's my aunt. Have some bread and butter. The bread and butter is for Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is devoted to bread and butter.
And very good bread and butter it is too.
My dear fellow, you need not eat as if you were going to eat at all. You behave as if you were married to her already. You are not married to her already, and I don't believe you ever will be.
Why on earth would you say that?
Girls never marry the men they flirt with. Girls don't think it right.
Oh, that is nonsense.
It is a great truth, and it accounts for the enormous number of bachelors one sees all over the place. And second, you don't have my consent.
Your consent.
My dear fellow, Gwendolyn is my first cousin, and before I allow you to marry her, you're gonna have to clear up the whole question of Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth do you mean? What do you mean, Algie, by Cecily? I don't know anyone of the name of Cecily.
Bring me the cigarette case Mr. Worthing left in the smoking room last time he dined here.
Yes, sir.
Do you mean to say you have had my cigarette case all this time? I wish to goodness you would let me know. I was writing frantic letters to Scotland Yard about it. I was very nearly offering a large reward.
I wish you would offer one. You seem to be more than usually hard up.
Well, there's no good offering a large reward now that the thing is found.
I think that is rather mean of you, Ernest, I must say. However, it makes no matter, for now that I look at the inscription inside, I find that the thing isn't yours after all.
Of course it's mine. You've seen me with it 100 times, and you have no right whatsoever to read what is written inside. It is a very ungentlemanly thing to read a private cigarette case.
It's absurd to have a hard and fast rule about what one should read and what one shouldn't. More than half of modern culture depends on what one shouldn't read.
I am quite aware of the fact, but I don't propose to discuss modern culture. It isn't the sort of thing one should discuss in private. I simply want my cigarette case back.
Yes, but this isn't your cigarette case. This cigarette case is a present from someone of the name of Cecily. You said you didn't know anyone of that name.
Well, if you want to know, Cecily is my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, charming old woman she is too. Lives at Tunbridge Wells. Just give it back to me, Algie.
Then why does she call herself Little Cecily if she's your aunt and lives at Tunbridge Wells? From little Cecily with her fondest love.
My dear fellow, what on earth is there in that? Some aunts are tall, some aunts are not tall. That is a matter that surely an aunt may be allowed to decide for herself. You seem to think that every aunt should be exactly like your aunt. That is absurd. Just give me back my cigarette case.
Then why does your aunt call you her uncle? From little Cecily with her fondest love to her dear Uncle Jack. There's no objection, I admit, to an aunt being a small aunt. But why an aunt, no matter what her size may be, call her own nephew her uncle? I can't quite make out. Besides, your name's not Jack at all, it is Ernest.
It isn't Ernest, it's Jack.
You have always told me it was Ernest. I've introduced you to everyone as Ernest. You respond to the name of Ernest. You look as if your name was Ernest. I mean, you're the most earnest-looking person I ever saw in my life. It is perfectly absurd you're saying that your name isn't Ernest. It's on your cards. Here's one of them. Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4, the Albany. I'll keep this as proof that your name is Ernest in case you ever attempt to deny it to me or to Gwendolyn or to anyone else.
Well, my name is Ernest in town and Jack in the country. And the cigarette case, it was given to me in the country.
Yes, but that does not account for the fact that your small Aunt Cecily, who lives at Tunbridge Wells, calls you her dear uncle. Come, old boy, you'd much better have the thing out at once.
My dear Algie, you talk exactly as if you were a dentist. It is very vulgar to talk like a dentist when one isn't a dentist. This is a false impression.
That is exactly what dentists always do. Now, go on. Tell me the whole thing. And I may mention that I've always been suspicious of you being a secret and confirmed Bunburyist, and I'm quite sure of it now.
Bunburyist? What on earth do you mean by Bunburyist?
I'll reveal to you the meaning of that incomparable expression as soon as you are kind enough to inform me why you are Ernest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, produce me my cigarette case first.
Here it is. Now, produce me my explanation and pray make it improbable.
My dear fellow, there is nothing improbable about my explanation at all. The old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a little boy, made me in his will guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew. Cecily, who addresses me as her uncle out of motives of respect you could not possibly appreciate. She lives in my place in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prism.
Where is that place in the country, by the way?
That is nothing to you, dear boy. You are not going to be invited. I can tell you candidly, the place isn't in Shropshire.
I suspected that, my dear fellow. I have Bunburied all over that part of Shropshire on 2 separate occasions. Now, go on. Tell me, why are you Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear Algie, I don't know whether you'll be able to appreciate my real motives. You are hardly serious enough. When one is placed in the position of guardian, one has to adopt a very high moral tone on all subjects. It is one's duty to do so. And as a high moral tone can hardly be said to conduce very much to either one's health or one's happiness, in order to get up to town, I have always pretended to have a younger brother of the name of Ernest, who lives at the Albany and gets into the most dreadful scrapes. That, my dear Algie, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Modern life would be very tedious if it were either. Modern literature, a complete impossibility.
That wouldn't be at all a bad thing.
Literary criticism is not your forte, my dear fellow. Please don't try it. You should leave that to the people who haven't attended universities. They do it so well in the daily papers. What you are is a Bunburyist. I've always known you to be a Bunburyist. You're the most advanced Bunburyist I've ever known.
What on earth do you mean?
You have invented a very useful younger brother by the name of Ernest, so that you may come up to the town whenever you like. I have created an invaluable permanent invalid called Bunbury, so I can come up to the country whenever I choose. Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. If it wasn't for Bunbury's extraordinary bad health, I wouldn't be able to dine with you at Willis's tonight, for I've been really engaged with Aunt Augusta for more than a week.
I haven't asked you to dine with me anywhere tonight.
I know. You are absurdly careless about who you send invitations to. It's very foolish of you. Nothing annoys people as much as not receiving invitations.
You had much better dine with your Aunt Augusta.
I haven't the smallest intention of doing anything of the kind. In the first place, I dine there on Monday, and once a week is quite enough to dine with one's own relations. In the second place, whenever I do dine there, I'm set down with either no woman at all or two. In the third place, I know perfectly well whom she will place me next to tonight. She will place me next to Mary Farquhar, who always flirts with her husband across the dinner table. That is not very pleasant. Indeed, it's not even decent, and that sort of thing is enormously on the increase. The amount of women in London who flirt with their own husbands is perfectly scandalous. It looks so bad. It is merely washing one's own clean linen in public. Besides, now that I know you to be a confirmed Bunburyist, I naturally want to talk to you about it. I want to tell you the rules.
I'm not a Bunburyist at all. If Gwendolyn accepts me, I'm going to kill my brother. Indeed, I think I'll kill him in any case. Cecily is a little too much interested in him. It is rather a bore. So, I'm going to get rid of Ernest, and I strongly advise you to do the same with with your invalid friend who has the absurd name.
Nothing will induce me to part with Bunbury. If you get married, it seems to me to be extremely problematic. You will be very glad to know Bunbury. A man who marries without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time of it.
Oh, that is nonsense. If I married Gwendolyn, and she is the only girl I ever saw in my life that I would marry, I certainly wouldn't want to know Bunbury.
Then your wife will. You don't seem to realize that in a married life, 3 is company and 2 is none.
That, my dear young friend, is the theory that the corrupt French drama has been propounding for the last 50 years.
Yes, and that the happy English home has proved in half the time.
Good heavens, don't try to be cynical. It is perfectly easy to be cynical.
It isn't easy to be anything nowadays, especially with this beastly competition about. Oh, that must be Aunt Augusta. Only relatives or creditors ever ring in that Wagnerian manner. Now, if I get her out of the way for 10 minutes so that you may have an opportunity to propose to Gwendolyn, may I dine with you at Willis's tonight?
I suppose so, if you want to.
Yes, but you better take it seriously. I hate people who don't take meals seriously. It's so shallow of them.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, dear Algernon. I hope that you are behaving very well.
I'm feeling very well, Aunt Augusta.
That's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, you are smart.
I am always smart. Am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You are quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I hope I'm not that. It will leave no room for developments. And I intend to develop in many directions.
I'm sorry if we're a little late, Algernon, but I was obliged to call on dear Lady Harbury. I hadn't been there since her poor husband's death. I've never seen a woman so altered. She looks quite 20 years younger. And now I will have a cup of tea, and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Gwendolyn, won't you come and sit here?
Thank you, but I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Good heavens! Lane, why are there no cucumber sandwiches? I ordered them specially.
There were no cucumbers in the market this morning, sir. I went down twice.
No cucumbers?
No, sir. Not even for ready money.
That will do, lady. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta, about there being no cucumbers. Not even for ready money.
It is quite all right, Algernon. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now. Thank you, Algernon. I've quite a treat for you tonight. I'm going to send you down with Mary Farquhar. She is such a nice woman and always so attentive to her husband. It's delightful to watch them.
I'm afraid, Aunt Augusta, I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight after all.
I hope not, Algernon. That would put my table completely out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
It is a great bore, and I need hardly say a terrible disappointment to me. But the truth is, I've just had a telegram to say that my poor friend Bunbury has fallen very ill again. They seem to think I should be with him.
It is very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes. Poor Bunbury is a dreadful invalid.
Well, I must say, Algernon, that I think it is high time that Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he was going to live or to die. This shilly-shallying with the question is absurd. Nor do I in any way approve of the modern sympathy with invalids. I consider it morbid. Illness of any kind is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. Health is the primary duty of life. I keep telling that to your poor uncle, but he never seems to take much notice. As far as any improvement to his ailment goes, I should be much obliged if you would ask Mr. Bunbury from me if he would be so kind as to not have a relapse on Saturday. I rely on you to arrange my music for me. It is my last reception, and one wants something which would encourage conversation, particularly at the end of the season in which everyone had said practically everything they had to say. Which in most cases probably wasn't much.
I'll speak to Bunbury, Aunt Augusta, if he is still conscious. And I think I can promise you he'll be all right by Saturday. Of course, the music is of great difficulty. If one plays good music, no one listens. If one plays bad music, no one talks. But I'll run over the program for you if you will kindly step into the other room for a moment.
Thank you, Algernon. It is very thoughtful of you. I'm sure the program will be delightful, after a few expurgations. French songs I cannot simply allow. People always seem to think that they are improper, and either look shocked, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. German sounds a thoroughly respectable language, and indeed I believe it so. Gwendolyn, you will accompany me.
Certainly, Mama.
Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Ren, don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing.
Unpacked it and placed it in the room next to your own.
His luggage.
Yes, sir. 3 portmanteaus, a dressing case, 2 hat boxes, and a large luncheon basket.
I'm afraid I can't stay more than a week this time.
Merriman, order the dog cart at once. Mr. Ernest has suddenly been called back to town.
Yes, sir.
What a fearful liar you are, Jack. I've not been called back to town at all.
Yes, you have.
I haven't heard anyone call me.
Your duty as a gentleman calls you back.
My duty as a gentleman has never interfered with my pleasure in the smallest degree.
Well, I can quite understand that.
Well, Cecily is a darling.
You are not to talk of Miss Carden like that. I don't like it.
Well, I don't like your clothes. You look perfectly ridiculous. Why on earth didn't you go up and change? It is perfectly childish to be in deep mourning for a man who's actually staying in your house for a week as your guest. I call it grotesque.
You are certainly not staying with me a whole week as a guest or anything else. You've got to leave by the 4:05 train.
I certainly won't leave you so long as you are in mourning. I think it's very unkind. If I were in mourning, you'd stay with me, I suppose.
Well, will you go if I change my clothes?
Yes, if you're not too long. I've never seen someone take so long to dress and with such little results.
Well, at any rate, it is better than always being as overdressed as you are.
If I am occasionally a little overdressed, I make up for it for being always immensely overeducated.
Your vanity is ridiculous. Your conduct an outrage, and your presence in my garden utterly absurd. However, you've got to catch the 4:05, and I hope you have a very pleasant journey back to town. This Bunburying, as you call it, hasn't been a great success to you.
I think it's been a great success. I am in love with Cecily, and that is everything. but I must see her before I go and make arrangements for another bunberry. Ah, there she is.
Oh, I merely came back to water the roses. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He has gone to order the dog cart for me.
Is he going to take you for a nice drive?
He's gonna send me away.
Have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It's a very painful parting.
It is always painful to part from people whom one has just been introduced to. The absence of old friends one can endure with equanimity, but even a momentary separation from anyone to whom one has just been introduced is almost unbearable.
Thank you.
The dog cart is waiting, sir.
It can wait, Merriman, for 5 minutes.
Yes, miss?
Cecily, if I may speak quite frankly and openly, that you seem to me to be in every way the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. Allow me to copy your remarks into my diary.
Your diary? Do you really keep a diary? I'd give anything to read it, may I?
No, it is simply a very young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions, and consequently meant for publication. When it appears in volume form, I hope you will order a copy. But pray, Ernest, don't stop. I delight in taking down from dictation. I have just reached absolute perfection. You may go on. I am quite ready for more. Oh, don't cough, Ernest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell a cough.
Cecily, ever since I first looked upon your wonderful, incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
I don't think you should tell me you love me wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Cecily,
The dog cart is waiting, sir.
tell us to come round next week at the same hour.
Yes, sir.
I think Uncle Jack would be very much annoyed if he knew you were staying on till next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack. I don't care about anybody in the whole world but you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy! Why, of course! We have been engaged for the last 3 months!
The last 3 months?
Yes, it will be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, became the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And, of course, a man who is much talked about is always very attractive. One feels there must be something in him after all. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Ernest.
Darling. And when was our engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of last February. Worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I decided to end the matter once and for all, and, after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you under this dear old tree here. The next day, I bought this little ring in your name. And here is the little bangle with the true lover's knot, which I promised you always to wear.
Did I give you that? It's very pretty, isn't it?
Yes, you've wonderfully good taste, Ernest. It's the excuse I've always given for your leading such a bad life. And here is the box with all your dear letters.
My letters? But my own sweet Cecily, I haven't written you any letters.
You need hardly remind me of that. I remember only too well that I was forced to write your letters for you. I wrote always 3 times a week and sometimes oftener.
Do let me read them, Cecily.
Oh, I couldn't possibly. They would make you far too conceited. The 3 you wrote me after I had broken off the engagement are so beautiful, yet so badly spelled, that even now I can hardly read them without crying a little.
But was our engagement ever broken off?
Oh, yes, on the 22nd of last March. You can see the entry if you like. Today, I broke off the engagement with Ernest. I feel it is better to do so. The weather still continues charming.
But why on earth did you break it off? What had I done? I'd done nothing, Cecily. I'm deeply hurt indeed to hear that you broke off our engagement, particularly when the weather was so charming.
Well, it would hardly be a really serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off at least once. Besides, I forgave you by the time the week was out.
What a perfect angel you are, Cecily.
My dear romantic boy, I hope your hair curls naturally, does it?
Yes, darling, with a little help from others.
I'm so glad.
You won't break off our engagement again, Cecily?
Oh, I couldn't possibly be ready to break it off now that I've just met you. Besides, there's still the question of your name.
Yes, of course.
You must not laugh at me, darling, but it has always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Ernest. There is something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband was not called Ernest.
But, my dear child, you don't mean to say you couldn't love me if I had some other name.
But what other name?
Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance.
But I don't like the name of Algernon.
My own sweet, loving little darling. I really don't see why you should object to the name Algernon. It's not at all a bad name. In fact, it is a rather aristocratic name. Half the chaps who get into the bankruptcy court are called Algie. But seriously, Cecily, if my name were Algie, couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character, but I fear I could not give you my undivided attention.
Cecily, your rector here, I suppose, is thoroughly experienced in all the practice and rites of the ceremonials of the church?
Oh yes, dear Dr. Chasuble is a most learned man. He has never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
I must see him at once on a most important christening. I mean, on most important business.
Oh?
I shan't be away for more than half an hour.
Considering that we have been engaged since February the 14th and only just met today, I think it is rather hard that you should leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Couldn't you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. To this young lady.
What young lady? Good heavens! Gwendolyn!
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolyn. I mean, to Gwendolyn.
Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may.
I felt there was some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief! Oh! Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Is your name really John?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But my name certainly is John. It has been John for years.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily.
My sweet wrongs, Gwendolyn.
You will call me sister, will you not?
But first, there is something I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An excellent idea. Mr. Worthing, there's just one question I would like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest, so it is a matter of some importance to us to know where your brother Ernest is at present.
Gwendolyn, Cecily, it is very painful for me to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life I have ever been reduced to such a painful position. And I really am quite inexperienced in doing anything of the sort. But I will tell you quite frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. I never had a brother in my life, and I haven't the smallest intention of ever having one in the future.
No brother at all?
None.
Had you never a brother of any kind?
Never. Not even of any kind.
I'm afraid it is quite clear, dear Cecily, that neither of us are to be engaged to be married to anyone.
It's a very painful position for a young girl suddenly to find herself in.
Let's go into the house. They will hardly venture to come after us there.
No, men are so cowardly, aren't they?
This ghastly state of things is what you call bun-burying, I suppose?
Yes, and a perfectly wonderful bunbury it is.
Well, you have no right whatsoever to bun-bury here.
That's absurd. One has the right to bunbury anywhere one chooses. Every serious bunburyist knows that.
Serious bun-buryist? Good heavens.
Well, one must be serious about something if one wants to have any amusements in life. What on earth you have to be serious about, I haven't the remotest idea. About everything I should fancy, you have an absolutely trivial nature.
The only small satisfaction I have in the whole of this wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. You may not be able to run down to the country quite so often as you used to do, dear Algie, and a very good thing, too.
Your brother is a little off color, isn't he, dear Jack? You won't be able to disappear off into London quite as usual as your wicked custom once was. Not that that's a bad thing, either.
As for your conduct towards Miss Cardew, I must say that you're taking in a sweet, simple, innocent girl like that is quite inexcusable, to say nothing of the fact that she's my ward.
Well, I can see no possible defense in you deceiving a brilliant, clever, thoroughly experienced young lady like Miss Fairfax. To say nothing of the fact that she's my cousin.
I wanted to be engaged to Gwendolyn, that is all.
Well, I wanted to be engaged to Cecily. I adore her.
There's certainly no chance of your marrying Miss Cardew.
Well, I can see no likelihood in you and Miss Fairfax being united.
Well, that is no business of yours.
If it was my business, I wouldn't talk about it.
Need some tea? How you can sit here calmly eating muffins while we are in this horrible trouble, I can't make out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
Well, I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner. The butter would probably get on my cuffs. One should remain quite calmly when eating muffins. That is the only way to eat them.
I say it is perfectly heartless that you're eating muffins at all under the circumstances.
When I'm in great trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me. Indeed, when I am in great trouble, as anyone who knows me intimately will tell you, I refuse everything except food and drink. At the present moment, I'm eating muffins because I'm unhappy. Besides, I'm particularly fond of muffins.
Well, that is no reason for you to eat them all in that greedy way.
Jack! I wish you'd have tea cake instead. I don't like tea cake.
Algery, I wish you would go.
Well, you can't possibly ask me to leave without having dinner first. It's absurd. Only people like vegetarians do that. Besides, I made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble to be christened 5:45 under the name of Ernest.
My dear fellow, the sooner you give up that nonsense, the better. I made arrangements this morning with Dr. Chasuble myself to be christened at 5:30, and I will naturally take the name of Ernest. Gwendolyn would wish it. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I like. There is no evidence at all that I was ever christened by anybody, and I should think it very probable that I never was, and so does Dr. Chasuble. It is entirely different in your case. You have been christened already.
Yes, but I haven't been christened in years.
Yes, but you have been christened. That is the important thing.
Quite so. So I know my constitution can stand it. If you're not quite sure about you having been christened, I think it is very dangerous you're venturing it now. You need hardly have forgotten that someone very closely connected to you was very nearly carried off this week in Paris by a severe chill.
Yes, but you said a severe chill wasn't hereditary.
It used to be, I know, but I dare say it is now. Science is making such wonderful improvement in things.
That is nonsense. You are always talking nonsense.
Jack, you are at the muffins again. I wish you wouldn't. I told you I was particularly fond of muffins, and there's still 2.5 left.
Algie, I don't like tea cake.
Why on earth would you allow tea cake to be served up to your guests? What ideas of hospitality you have?
Algernon, I've already told you to go. I don't want you here. Why don't you go?
Well, I haven't finished my tea yet, and there's still 2 muffins left.
Good heavens!
I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends on your reply. Gwendolyn, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
In order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you.
That certainly seems a satisfactory response. Yes?
Algernon,
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
may I ask if this is the house in which your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
Oh, Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did he die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
Oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, poor Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Bunbury? Oh, he was quite exploded.
Was he the victim of revolutionary outrage? I did not know that Mr. Bunbury was into social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
My dear Aunt Augusta, he was found out. the doctors found out that he could not live, is what I mean to say. So, poor Bunbury died.
He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. But I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the end towards a definite course of action, and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is this young person whose hand my nephew is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That young lady is Miss Cecily.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. Now, dear, of course you know that Algernon...
My unfortunate brother! Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother! Algie, you've got to treat me with more respect in the future. You haven't treated me like a brother in all your life.
Well, not till today, old boy, I admit. How was that in practice?
But what Owen are you? What is your Christian name now that you've become someone else?
Good heavens, I had quite forgotten that.
You were naturally christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at the present moment recall what the general's Christian name was. But I have no doubt that he had one.
Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General, Christian names, Ernest, John. Gwendolyn, I had always told you my name was Ernest. I mean, it really is Ernest. It is naturally Ernest.
Yes, I remember now that the general's Christian name was Ernest. I knew I had some particular reason for disliking the name.
Ernest, my own Ernest. I felt from the first that you could have no other name.
Gwendolyn, it is a very terrible thing for a man to find out that all his life he has been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you ever forgive me?
I can, for I feel that you are sure to change.
My own one!
Letitia!
Frederick, at last.
Cecily! At last!
Gwendolyn! At last!
My nephew! You seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I have realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest!